Welcome everyone to BigGunner81 Live. Of course, can't hear the music. Presented by Applied Arsenal Finishes, BAT Arms LLC at batarms.com, and Eggleston Munitions. Also range at 355. So, welcome everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Here's some background noise going there from somebody.
What's going on, Rick?
Hey, welcome, Joe. We've got Joe Gizzy in the house. Dillen Easley as well. Welcome, welcome. And, of course, Tommy. Got him in the house as well.
Hi, everybody.
How y'all doing? So we're just basically going to do a little –
pretty good.
Good. Going to do a little open format gun chat like we kind of do usually and so forth. It's open to any topics you want to discuss related to firearms, sport shooting, defensive shooting, anything like that. And before we start, too, I want to mention, for those of you out there watching in YouTube land or on gunchannels.com, you go ahead and put your comments in the live chat, which, for example, you might be wondering, what is the live chat that I'm talking about? I'll show you guys this right now as soon as I pull it up on my screen. So the live chat is right here, if you guys can see this. On the side of our YouTube video, there's actually a live chat. If you're logged into YouTube, you can chat on there. And also on Gun Channels, no one's in there right now. But both those two places, you can join in the conversation, ask your questions, and so forth, and we can address them live for you on the show. So
going in there right now.
There you go. Gonna go ask your questions?
Yeah, exactly.
You can also make comments too, sure.
Has that Russian guy been around lately?
The guy who is always talking about drinking vodka or whatever and so forth. I have not seen him on here lately. We do get an eclectic mix of people from time to time in the live chat.
I couldn't tell if he was like a troll or not. I don't think he was.
You know. It's hard to tell. Sometimes you get some real weird, goofy people, and sometimes you get some goofy people. So
yeah,
yeah,
goofy people with good intentions too.
Yeah, for the most part, we usually have a lot of fun
with
those watching and everything, and it's pretty cool. Also, you can also in some cases comment on Facebook as well. Anthony Cruz, by the way, just commented a couple things on Facebook. He said. Dylan Easley, oh, never mind, not watching this show. And then followed by, is Google Hangouts finally working? Because last week he was experiencing the same problem I was without having the live button, unfortunately, which I was mentioning that just a little while ago on Facebook Live. So last week, yeah, there was no broadcast button to actually go live with. Google must have been doing an update of some type. Kind of interesting, but there's a way around that too, I guess. Apparently, I found out from the host of the show Hit or Miss here on YouTube that you can get a streaming software that'll work with YouTube because they have a couple different ways of doing live streaming, and using the software, he was able to still do his show. And I didn't know about this until afterwards, so it was something new that I got to still explore because he said there is a learning curve to using the software and so forth. There's a lot of things that go on in the background of doing YouTube, whether it's producing videos or doing a live streaming show that people don't always get to see. But it's kind of interesting stuff in some respects. So, Dylan, Dr. Easley, how you doing?
Not too bad.
Yeah. So
about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Something.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and everything for those that maybe not know who you are.
Okay. I'm a chiropractor in the Kansas City Northland. Own a little medical joint as well. I'm also a trigger jockey in 3-gun, so I'll get to pull the trigger for several different companies, and I've had a lot of fun doing that the last 3 years.
Awesome. So what companies are you sponsored by? If you don't mind
there's a list of them. Rise Armament's probably the primary sponsor right now. Signed on for next year is also shootsteel.com. Vortex also signed on. Sent me some sweet little full curl beer, which was very nice of them.
Awesome.
TACCOM's been on since 2013, so they've been our longest running sponsor. Weber Tactical is probably one of the newest ones as far as holsters, mag holders, stuff like that. He's actually done quite a bit in the Missouri area to hook people up. Rubber City Armory and H&M Black Nitride signed on here in the last week or two, and they've been on since 2013 as well. And then got a couple other ones that I'm talking to about re-signing on from last year, Warren Tactical or Warren Scope Mounts, but I like their tactical logo the best. And then Extreme Bullets, Freedom Munitions, talking to them about continuing on into this year from last year.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Got some awesome companies behind you.
Yeah, it helps quite a bit.
By the way, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if it's coming off of – oh, it's coming off of Dillen. Sorry.
Might have to use headphones.
Yeah, if you don't mind, because it helps. For some reason, I always have that issue. Let me apologize to those watching.
How's that?
That is much better. No more feedback. Thank you. Yeah, that happens. It's one of those things. Sometimes Google, speaking of earlier, like I was mentioning the stuff that goes on in the background, sometimes Google will cancel out that like that feedback, and sometimes it won't. And yeah, so like sometimes I can actually go on here and talk and not have to wear headphones, and sometimes I have to. It just depends. It's weird. And if you refresh, sometimes that problem goes away too. If you refresh your browser, it's weird. Google's kind of had its ups and downs, but on the flip side, it's also a very beneficial tool. So
yeah, usually, I mean, I prefer headphones all the time. You kind of get it used to them, addicted to them, because you could just hear obviously everything so much better. I don't know. I couldn't go without them, is what I'm saying.
No, I hear you. In fact,
me neither.
Gotcha. So one of the things I was going to mention too is and this is for an open discussion thing too. We'll come back to Dylan in a little bit. I was talking about before. Apologize. I'm going to pull this up here. Somewhere on my screen, I have it. Whether or not you guys had seen the Mantis X. I was just kind of on my mind today. I was thinking about this. I'm like, it's been a little while since I really have visited this tool. And for those who don't know what Mantis X is, basically, and here's a video I have on it. And I want to know your thoughts as far as for a training device, what you think, if this would be beneficial or not. It's a device that mounts on your Picatinny rail, mainly for your pistol, but it can mount on any Picatinny rail. You can use it in live fire and in dry fire both. And it also can work with airsoft. It can work with the regular pistol. And it links through Bluetooth with your phone. It can work with Android, and it can work with the iPhone. And it gives you instant feedback on your shots. Can tell you what you're doing wrong. Like here's an example on the screen. This is the first version of the software, I believe. I'm not 100% certain. They made some changes since then, and the software is free to download. You buy the device. I want to say it runs around $150. Maybe it's less. I'm not sure now. You download the software for free, so you can put it on whatever device you want to use it on. It can work with the tablet even, as long as you have Bluetooth and Android or iPhone, like iPhone or whatever, Apple-based. And yeah, it gives you this nice little pie graph thing, and it tells you what area, kind of puts all your shots in like a bucket, and whichever one you're doing worse on is kind of like your area you need to work on. And it's a neat thing. And by the way, Joe, it's also a local company, local to us here in Illinois.
Oh, really?
I think they're based out of Oswego, I believe.
Yeah, let me check. I'm on their website right now, actually.
Yeah.
So how does that, if we're looking at the interface right now in the video, I'm not sure how much you know about it, Rick. So how does that work? I mean, and was he firing at something like at the screen?
No. Actually, I do have this, and no, you don't fire it at the screen. It just it has like a gyroscope built into the little device, and it's easily It's rechargeable too, by the way, off of your USB. So you don't have to put batteries in it or anything. You just charge it up off your USB connection, and then you mount it on your pistol. You turn it on, and basically, as you fire, it gives instant feedback through Bluetooth to your phone. So you could fire at anything. Now, if you're doing dry fire, for example, at home, and whether it's with airsoft or with an actual pistol, you can just pick a spot that you want, like your target. You don't have. It doesn't matter what you're pointing it at. It's just measuring your trigger pull, basically. Right. So is
okay.
That makes sense.
yeah, so it's not basing it off anything. Now there's another device that, or not really a device, another software I was checking out, which I haven't visited recently. That was another. I actually saw this at SHOT Show 2016. There was another device that was out there. I keep saying device. This is a device. The other one is called Spotter. It's a software for your phone that was under development. It was in beta testing at the time, and what they were doing was basically that particular software. You piece of paper, and you have to have either like your phone pointed at it on using your camera on your phone, or like I think some of the GoPros are Wi-Fi compatible. And in that case, you can link your GoPro, set it out by your target. Oh, we lost Dillen, I guess. Just noticed that he was gone.
If you go onto the Mantis website and click on Order Now, there's great photos of the device.
Yes, yeah, for Black Richard.
You know, there's not any sort of laser technology or anything. It's just like a box, so obviously everything's on the inside with motion. So it's a simplistic way of describing it. Yeah, it looks cool.
It certainly does. So all it pretty much does is just rise, or if you're grabbing the trigger wrong or something like that, right? That's all pretty much it does.
Yeah, basically it measures it. Okay, Dylan's back. So we lost you there for a little bit.
Still, the muzzle is when the trigger breaks, basically.
Yeah, basically it's measuring that movement with the gyro, I don't know if you call it gyroscope or accelerometer or whatever it is, built into it, where, oh, I'm sorry, I see Dylan didn't hear our audio, I guess, when he plugged in his headphones. That's what the issue is, I think. I lost him.
I learned my lesson. When you have Google Hangouts, you have to go through Google's Internet Explorer, and
it's funny you should say that, because ironically, I have issues with, like, when I go to use Google Chrome with Hangouts, I can't do a screen share, but I can do it with Internet Explorer. So it's really goofy. I don't know if Google's going to help improve this software or what, but it is what it is. So technology, it's kind of what we're talking about a little bit with this product here from Mantis X. It's a neat idea, and it's a neat little tool. I think to get like dry fire practice in at home, you know, one of the things it does is, you know, as I mentioned, I think the terminology they use is target agnostic, which means, like, from my understanding, it doesn't matter if you have a target in front of you; it's how you're pulling the trigger. So if you're correcting for like how your trigger pull with your sights, it'll pick that out. It'll know that. So you might be hitting the center ring, but you might be putting your sights off a little bit to do it because of your trigger pull.
Interesting.
This helps you help improve that. And I need to get back to using it more often than I have been. It's a really neat tool. They improved it a little bit I don't know what other things they've added to the software since last time I really looked at it, because it's been a little while. But from my understanding, they actually had like a graph, and it was kind of a weird looking graph. It wasn't the pie chart. It was kind of like to show you, in addition to they have a bar graph that's already in there, like a point type graph. But this one actually showed the movement of your pistol. Like if you're looking at it straight on, if you're like looking at a line graph of your movement in your hands, it kind of mapped it out in like a circle, like where your pistol was moving around. Kind of weird, but neat tool. Now the other one I was mentioning too is called Spotter. I haven't visited that one in a while, and that one's just a software actually, where, like I was saying, they get a target, they set it up, you have to have a camera of some sort on the target, and it will hear the report from the pistol or firearm, wherever you're shooting, your rifle, pistol, whatever. But it will also map out on the screen the holes in the target. So it strictly works off visual. This is a different tool though. This is like an actual just software based, so you don't have to actually buy any hardware. Unlike the Mantis X, we're actually buying the Mantis X tool. And it's kind of a neat idea, but at the same token, they were still developing it at the time I checked it out. And in fact, instead of me just talking about it, let me just pull it up here on a video to kind of show, because we actually did me and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tack Daddy, Kevin Reichard. During SHOT Show 2016, we went up to check out. He invited me to go along with him to check this product out. And basically, it was just a little demo that was being put on by the guys at Spotter in a hotel room.
Is it called Spotter or Sharp Spotter?
It's like SPOTTR. And let me do my screen share, and I'll show you this. And then I like to hear some of your feedback as to what you all think about this type of stuff. So you're welcome to jump in at any time. Anyone who wants to speak. Don't think I'm just going to talk all myself.
No, not really. I was actually looking at the website for Mantis here and trying to get exactly what the info is on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you guys are talking about it, but this thing looks like it's pretty cool. I think like maybe it would be good for like a woman or maybe even just somebody like me that's a competitive shooter to buy this and take a look at it and use it. I mean,
so why would you say a woman? That sounds kind of sexist.
Well, not really just for women, but for everybody. Because trigger control, you know, as well as I do, that's pretty much where you either hit or miss the target. Yeah. When I first started shooting, a lot was about 3 years ago, and I could barely hit the target sometimes. I mean, a full IPSC paper, I couldn't even hit the target, and a lot of dry fire and stuff like that. But I think this would really help a lot of people that are just beginning.
Yeah.
And a lot of shooters in general, not just women. But the reason why I said women is because there was a picture of a instructor teaching a woman how to shoot this or how to use this.
Mm-hmm.
And how to shoot a gun, and you could clearly see it on the end of the gun. It looks like.
Yeah, from the photos on their website, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Tommy, I agree. I mean, any sort of beginner to shooting would benefit that. I mean, I'm pretty new to this sport and just this industry, and when I can't remember if it was somebody who was explaining it to me or if it was literally just a video. But once, explaining that once the trigger breaks and that where your muzzle's pointing at that exact moment, that's where it's going to go. Not necessarily just holding your hand still. That once you get that concept, you really start to understand and you really start to shoot better. And I think, a lot of people, when they bring somebody to the range that is new to it, they don't do a good job of explaining that. I think something like this would do a good job. I mean, just helping people practice. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's when you're new to it. I really don't think that is driven home enough. That's just my opinion.
It's easy to develop bad habits too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the person to talk to when it comes to like proper grip and things like that, because I'm not good at explaining it. I'm not. I'm still learning stuff too, and everything, and I can always benefit from advice from someone who's done it, or whatever, or an instructor. But yeah, this is kind of a neat thing, the spotter, just because it didn't require any hardware with it, but it was also limited to the fact that it couldn't tell you your movement. It was just kind of mapping out your shots on the target itself. So really, I think the feedback is slightly limited in that respect because, like as I mentioned earlier, you could be adjusting for your sights and so forth. But it was kind of a cool experience to go check this out firsthand. And it's, I don't know if it's out of beta testing yet. It might be by now. I just haven't checked with them recently because honestly, Mantis X kind of started appealing to me a little bit more because it gives you a little bit more feedback. They also had a cool aspect to this too, where it was kind of a social thing where you could kind of post up your photos of your target and kind of like your results and things like that on through like a social network of some type, like either through Facebook or something. And I think that Mantis X started adding something like that into their mix as well. So Dylan, what are some of your thoughts on these things?
Well, I'm looking at it from two different aspects. I'm actually looking for the Spotter app that they listed on their website. I'm not seeing it yet. So the business owner aspect of me, I'm looking at a return on investment. Our app is a $2 or $5 download, and
Right.
game on, pick it up. The Manus X is $150, and I'm gonna have a little bit different opinion from what a lot of people have. The only reason for that is going to be, let's say, for instance, I've got my pistol here, and I don't have that nice high tight grip on it. Say I'm coming a little bit off, faded, my hands are all messed up, but the Manus is saying that I'm putting the holes where they're supposed to be. That sounds great during dry fire, but what happens when the gun actually recoils? The first thing I would probably do is look towards a good pistol instructor. Give you an idea, right. I took a class with Merle Eddington, one of the founding members of the AMU Action Pistol Team, and it was $150 for an 8-hour class. Now I'm going to get more from that Manus X than what somebody who hasn't had that class is going to get. Information, that person's going to get maybe a little bit of a false positive and thinking that they're doing right.
Right. Now, it's also, just to be clarified, you mentioned about during dry fire, but you can live fire with it on it too.
Sure.
So you can actually get that feedback as well, but I don't disagree at all about having the training, definitely. I think
and that's where the return on investment comes in. If I'm going to put $150 down and I've got the option to drive to Kansas City and take a class from Merle, man, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to look at another $150 for the Manus X. For somebody like me, it's probably going to benefit me fairly well in dry fire more than live fire. I'm going to spend my money in more of a linear fashion, get the basics down first, pick up a training tool second.
Got it.
For sure.
Got it. Yeah, it's
exactly.
kind of more like a supplemental type thing in a sense. But yeah, the training I think is definitely important.
I feel that's one thing I still need to go to a class and do that sort of training, because I've never done any kind of training.
I've
just
hosted
with like Jay Carrillo and people like that just kind of helped me along the way. In fact, the last match that me and Jay Carrillo shot at each other, he was kind of saying corrective criticism. Before you even get into that port, have your gun up and ready, not just get there and then put the gun up. No, get there and put the gun up first. So,
Jay,
that's the kind of training I've had.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be some awesome renowned training class or school. Just any sort of basic concealed carry or anything like that. Just being in the classroom part, being with an instructor, holding a blue gun, them giving you feedback on what to do. It's so important. It does, and like I said, it doesn't just any sort of tactical class at all, or even just a concealed carry is a huge help.
Yeah.
It's funny what a good instructor will pick up on, and it doesn't matter what level of a shooter you are. We had a class. I've hosted 2 classes with Merle on my private range. Something with one of our shooters, Keith, that he's stuck in a wheelchair, and so he's modifying things. Then he comes over to me, and the criticism he's given me isn't on. It's the way my feet are and the way my legs are, and I'm standing up too tall. And he's finding one of us actually needs to hear versus what the baseline is going to be. Okay, let's do A, let's do B, let's do C. So the instruction is a big thing to me.
Gotcha.
And then taking that from what you learned there and then continuing that into dry firing and then practice sessions at the range and then into competition. I think that's where I fail, even though I haven't had any training, but from what I've learned from other shooters is when I get to off the range with them, and then I go home and I dry fire, and then that's where I screw up because I'll forget what I'm doing. Even when I'm running around here in my house, dry firing as I go through my house, I always when I post up, I always stop and my gun's not up, or I guess it's just the mechanics of it. It's real hard for me to learn that.
you know, there's
and just be a good shooter in general.
Right. And Tommy, obviously, there's no substitute for training, for great training, but maybe something that would help with that is just there's some really good videos out there, and maybe you could just put them up on your TV or anything and do it along with them. That's what I did when I first started, because I don't really have a lot of friends that are into shooting or family, so I'm kind of alone in this as well. So when I didn't do training classes, because you can't do them every single weekend, it's just not possible. And there are some really good videos out there.
Yeah, I usually put it on my home computer, like something on YouTube or something like that. And really running around the house is out of an option for me now, because I was running through my house and I went to do a mag change, and the mag fell to the ground, bounced up, and I kicked it. And when I kicked it, it went into the wall and put a hole in the wall.
Oh.
My wife ended that right now. It was done. So I spent the next 2 hours fixing the hole in the wall, and then the next 3 days pretty much priming and painting the whole room, because now the color was not right when I painted that little section. So that was fun.
Yeah, you got to pick your rooms correctly. Correctly and set things up to where you got to reload. The mags that I drop out of my 2011 are anywhere from $110 to $130 a piece.
Ouch.
In my office, where I typically do most of it, there's a little bit of carpet, but I'll lay down pillows, and if my reload's correct, the mag will land on the pillow. If my reload's not correct, the gun, or if I'm not turning where I can see the mag well, then a mag missing the pillow, or I might kick it into a wall or something else. But the places I do it in my office, it's much easier. If I'm doing it at home area, that way if I do kick it, probably one of the worst and best stories I've got is shooting an indoor pistol match ground, and then immediately stepped on it with the other leg in front of my left leg and going right down on my right hip. Luckily, I kept the gun downrange and continued the stage and everything else. But if you drop it in the right area,
that was on concrete.
Yeah, that's on concrete with actually it was right after work, wearing dress loafers, slacks, polo shirt, and then just strapping a Glock on your side and going and shooting an indoor match.
Yeah. That can happen. I mean, I know I've kicked mags before, dropping them out, It happens. But stepping on it and falling on it, that's worse.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a guy
quick.
When I was,
sorry, go ahead.
Was moving, well, more or less I was running, because I was trying to get from point A to point B as fast as I could, and I had that shot timer strapped to my wrist. A buddy of mine let me borrow it. It would pick up the hammer fall on the gun. Now, my Pocket Pro 2 won't do it, but this one would. So I was borrowing it. I was doing the reload, was running. I dropped the mag, did the reload, got to the point, and it was a double action gun, so I just bang, one click of the hammer, and sure enough, it picked up the timer, and I went back, and I looked at the wall, and I'm like, oh, no, she's going to kill me. But, yeah, it did.
So what magazine was that? What pistol was that you were using?
That was a CZ P07.
Okay. So
now I use that one in IDPA.
So this past weekend, I was going to mention this too as well. Pull us up this video. Me and Laura had an awesome experience with. There's a place up here, Joe, called Paintball Explosion up in East Dundee, Illinois. We were invited out by. Yeah, they have an indoor laser tag arena. It's actually built on an old ice skating ring. It's part of what used to be Santa's Village, actually. And
is that Tony there? No, who is that?
No, this is Gino from Black Rhino, and then next to him is Aaron from Anacor Arms. So basically, they invited us up, they being Black Rhino Concealment and Trident Custom Coatings, for their holiday party. They had a nice little bar of food, like a dinner type deal. And then this open laser tag where you could just jump in at any time. Like if you want to go play laser tag from any time between 6 and like 10 o'clock, you just go out there and they'll set you up with a gun and to get you going. It's pretty cool. So we're basically like this whole place. I didn't mean to switch gears, but I was kind of talking about a little bit about training, and also this is kind of a way to kind of blow off some steam too. This is, as you can kind of see, this is all Connex boxes, like those big freight boxes you'd see for like shipping containers, like on the back of like semis and trains and things like that. And it has like multiple levels. I think there's at least 2 levels to this. And so there's stairs inside these Connex boxes, and there's like openings and barricades, and then inside there's like a helicopter and police car and a Hummer. And then also they got a couple mod deuces, like, you know, basically set up on like kind of like a balcony sort of thing where you can kind of shoot down at people and stuff. It was a blast. So I want to throw that out there and just kind of say thank you again to the guys over at Black Rhino Concealment and Trident Custom Coatings out here in Illinois for inviting us out to shoot with them and have fun. So it was a pretty cool time. Definitely, if you're in the area, check it out. Nice. That's Sven from Manicore Arms, also an Illinois-based company as well. This kind of gives you a little bit better view, I guess.
AR analogs then.
What's that?
So they're all an AR analog. It's not some space-looking guns you have to carry.
You know, yes and no. They have like an AR-style stock and like buffer tube on them and a grip, and so it's very AR-esque. But the actual like they look slightly different than an M4, kind of. You kind of see it, but it's very much similar. So basically, you just like have this little headband thing you put on, and there's like 3 little light sensors that you can see on there, and you gotta get hit 3 times in the head to be able to be out, and then you can go respawn, like in the back corner and stuff. There's like a button and like a little thing you put your head by it, and it resets you to be able to go out back to shooting again. So I took what was like 2 hours of footage and cut it down to about 5 minutes. Actually, it was probably a little over an hour, I think. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but yeah, it was a blast. So definitely recommend checking out the Paintball Explosion. I'd love to actually try out paintball one day. I've never done it. Have any of you guys done paintball?
Yep, I have. And I've done that laser tag that you're talking about. There's a place in Valpo. There was a motorcycle sales shop. And right next door used to be a lumber yard. Well, the building for the lumber yard, they took and built this into a real big arena. They have 2 different rooms, I believe it is, but it's more like team combat. Like you're on one team, A team, B team. You're trying to get like weapons in there. You're trying to get this and that. Even though you have your own laser tag, but you're trying to build a bomb and stuff like that. You got to grab so many different items.
Well, they did do that. There was a red team and a blue team, and then like the second half of that, they wanted us to find ammo cans, and whoever, I think it was like 16 ammo cans or something.
Yeah.
And you had to get all of them into your side to win, and no one actually did it before they closed because they closed at 10 o'clock. So, but it was a blast.
My problem was that on my team was a lot of ported SWAT team officers, police officers on the SWAT team. So they're like jumping out of the doorway and landing prone, and they're shooting at the same time. I'm just like, really? Who does that? Bunch of cowboys over here.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, well, the group you were shooting with was a lot of veterans in it too. So, you know, they all have their own unique shooting styles when it comes to that, because to them it's a little more serious, I guess. I don't know.
No, they were just joking around, clowning around.
Oh, gotcha.
It was my brother-in-law and all of his co-workers.
Cool. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. But I figured I'd just throw that out there and kind of give them a little shout out and stuff and show it off, because it's kind of a cool place. Especially because, you know, this time of year, you know, as it's getting colder out in our neck of the woods, you end up like with where are you going to go train and practice? Well, laser tag isn't really I wouldn't really call it a practice for 3-gun, I don't think. But it kind of makes you think about that too, is like, what are you going to do over the wintertime? You know, luckily we do have some indoor matches, like pistol matches and 2-gun matches and things once in a while up here. But what are some of the things that you guys do when in winter strikes or when it's raining out or whatever and you want to do a match or practice besides dry fire in the house? Everyone is
somebody isn't allowed to dry fire in the house anymore.
Yeah, that's what right.
it's doable. I've got a private range where it's stocked full of steel from Shoot Steel, and there as much as I can. I did pick up a pistol caliber carbine to play with.
Awesome.
Handguard and trigger that I'm going to run on my 3-gun rifle, so I should be able to practice with it quite a bit without spending a fortune. My poor 1050 is 20,000 rounds this year, so it's going to get a little bit more work now.
Nice.
So especially playing with a rifle.
So what handguard and trigger are you running?
Right now I've got the CIM Tactical handguard, which they sponsored me this year, and then the Rise Armament RA 535 trigger.
Okay.
Fun little gun.
Cool.
A little Vortex Razor red dot on it.
Oh, cool.
Nice, pretty little trigger. So, but kind of found, I know guys catch a lot of flack for shooting it in USPSA and 3-gun, but USPSA makes it just a hair too easy to shoot fast and shoot all alphas. But it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's something I definitely want to get into is the pistol caliber carbine. It's on the list. Hopefully in 2017 that'll be something I can actually do. But yeah, right now with all the other projects I have going on, the funding isn't quite there for it. You know, like I'm sure you know I've talked about it many times on the show, the 50 States of AR-15 project, which is the biggest project that I'm working on right now, where I'm building a rifle for every single state. Also working on what I'm calling the 50 States of 1022, which is just a single rifle build with a couple other little, you know, there's going to be a few other things I'll throw into that video series as well as far as parts and components, but mainly it's one rifle build, not 50. So it's a much simpler, small micro version of the 50 States of AR-15 project, so to speak. So funding's been going towards those things, and also building up the infrastructure for the filming and video editing type stuff. You know, we got SHOT Show coming up in just over a month from now. I've got a brand new DSLR on order. Hopefully it'll be here pretty soon. That's, you know, money I got to spend. So when you get a lot of people that'll say, like, you know, you get free products, you know, like sponsorships and so forth, it's not really free because there's always something attached to it. Like, you know, they don't consider the cost of making these videos, what it costs to buy equipment. It's not cheap to have decent equipment, and that's what I'm finding out as I'm going through this whole process of growing the channel. And also takes a lot of time. You know, the live show, you know, we don't do a lot of prep work for this, and it's more of an open format. It does take time to set it up and get people on it, and video editing for all the videos takes a lot of time. So anyway, nothing is technically free. No. But I'm really looking forward to SHOT Show. I'm looking forward to getting usage out of this new DSLR, especially for I gotta get some nice pictures taken very soon, or some nice photos for the 50 States project for article that hopefully will be coming out in January and Shooting Illustrated from NRA about the project. Looking forward to that. So
Rick, based off your experience last year, what is like your game plan for SHOT Show this year?
That's a good question.
Just, I mean, I'm sure you have some companies that you want to talk to and visit, but is it, you know, pretty random? Not random, but, you know, just exploratory, I guess, after that? Or
that's a great question, and I'll be happy to try to answer that as best as I can. So I'm still in the planning phases for SHOT Show, which makes me feel like I'm behind the ball a little bit, being that it's coming up in just over a month. But I have a list of companies that I want to meet with and I need to meet with, mainly for things like for the 50 States project. I need to catch up on interviews because SHOT Show would be an excellent place, not so much for the audio quality because you're going to have a lot of background noise, but for the fact of you got all these people under one roof, so to speak, or one location, versus having to travel here and there all over the place to try to meet up with different company owners and so forth to do interviews, or doing a web-based interview. Web-based interviews work, but it's much better when you can go in person and talk with them and see their operation and maybe get some B-roll footage of like a machine running or something to kind of show off a little bit of what they do in a more intimate sense. So yeah, we're going to be kind of mapping out some of the companies we want to meet with, trying to see if we can set up some times to do that, because to me that'd be most ideal to be a more effective way of going about all the navigation through the event, because this is a pretty large place with like 3 different levels to it.
Right.
And I forget how many acres it is with how many vendors, but it's huge. It's when you hear about it and see coverage, it doesn't really give a great picture until you're actually there standing in front of these huge halls everywhere. And when you're coming and going, mainly when at the end of the show when you're leaving, it is just like all these people just crammed in a hallway, just walking out. It's just like a huge thing, huge. So it's a blast. Now, some of the new things for this year, the range day, that's gonna be new for us. We got an invite from our friends over at Hyperfire Triggers, and also from Rock Island Armory as well, to come out and check out their stuff. We'll also be visiting with a couple other companies while we're there. For example, Aero Precision. They said, hey, if you're going to be at range day, why don't you come over to our booth? We got some full auto goodness we're going to have. And I'm like, hey, can't turn that down. So we'll get some coverage from that, and also using the new equipment. We're going to do things a little differently with that too, since I'll have Laura with me to help out with some of the filming. That's probably going to help with some of the interviews, because most of the time when I'm doing interviews, it's just me, and that's how it has been. So I'll be like, okay, I can't really get in front of the camera, because if I set up a tripod, this is the thing about SHOT Show. There's aisles, and there's lots of people in these aisles. And if you set up a tripod, it takes time to set up. So now you're wasting time where people will need to converse and do business and stuff. And two, it makes for the opportunity for someone to bump into your gear and knock it over unless you're standing with it. So to get in front of the camera is kind of difficult when you're one person. There's ways around it, and if you want to be creative and stuff, sure. But for the most part, it's just so much easier to say, hey, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. Do a little, discussion about your company, who you are, what you do, what kind of cool stuff you got coming out, which is what a lot of these companies do. So it's almost repetitive for them. This year, like I said, I do want to get in front of the camera and actually do more of an interview type stuff. And we'll probably do that. So it'll be a little bit different this year. Also being able to take more photos. Last year I took a lot of photos with my cell phone just because it was the easiest way to do it, to get it up on Instagram for people to kind of see some of the cool stuff that was there and some of the people that we ran into. But this year I want to take more objective photos, I guess, in a sense. And if I get the DSLR, I can probably take a little bit better photos than I was with my phone. We'll just it's kind of those things that a lot of it is going to be take it as it comes and be flexible, and there's going to be a lot of walking. Number one thing, I've two things I learned about SHOT Show from my first year, now being a veteran of SHOT Show, I guess. Not really. I'm still learning all this stuff. But one, people say dose up on vitamin C like a couple weeks ahead of time. Start doing that, because most people come home sick from the show because of meeting so many people. And, airports and planes and all the people at the show and whatever. So that's one thing. Luckily, I didn't get sick last year. Number two is, they're both very important, both related to your health. Getting a good, comfortable pair of shoes, because I didn't map out how many miles I did, but, man, I walked a lot of miles. I mean, I know some people said they put a pedometer on and they walked about 15 miles a day, and it's crazy. And it's not necessarily like you're walking continuously, to that 15-mile point. It's kind of like you're walking from here to here, and then you stop for a while and you're talking. Then you're walking from here to here. Then you're walking a long distance. And then you're walking a short distance. And it's all broken up.
You won't even notice it.
Exactly. And you're so excited about it, and you're having fun, and you just don't even notice. It's a great experience, a lot of fun. Also, what else? Staying hydrated is another thing. Media room will have bottles of water, and around the facility there'll be usually besides charging stations for your phone, usually near them they'll have water somewhere, set out with cups, or whatever. So if you can get bottles of water, bring a couple of bottles with you, because talking all the time, you kind of get dehydrated. While the walking, you get kind of dehydrated.
Well, usually at those big conventions or events, they have food or water vendors there that are also trying to promote themselves. Do they have that sort of thing?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, they do. They'll have. Sorry, I'll let Dylan go ahead. Dylan.
Yeah, they had a food area in the bottom floor, kind of right in the middle, and then you're smack dab in the middle of the casino. So I mean, you can always go out in the middle of the casino and go eat. And half the time, what we would do is kind of meet up and say, "Hey, you want to go to lunch?" And we'd leave and go find some place to eat and check out some new bar to go have lunch at, and show. But basically 2 to 3 floors there that you can be on, and it's overwhelming if you don't really have a plan of what you're doing.
True.
An idea of what you're going in for. There's a whole LEO military area where they've got FA items that maybe we can't have. Prototype stuff was kind of cool. I went last year, I guess technically still this year, and I went kind of as a check it out, talk to a couple sponsors in person, talk to a couple potential sponsors, stuff like that. One this time around, but it's a lot of money to go out there to have fun and drink some beer on the strip.
Hence the nothing's free part. You easily with the hotel stay for the week and getting a decent hotel. I mean, you can do it on the cheap if you want to like go real cheap. I guess from what I've heard, there's places like I'm not going to go into any names because I don't want to do that, but you can go further away from the strip, I guess. But then you also have to travel, and there's all these different things you got to figure into the cost of food and flights and everything. I mean, you're going to spend a couple grand easily doing this. I mean, so
it's not going to be a cheap venture. I mean, I got lucky. My cousin lives right off the strip, right behind the Aria Casino, and I stayed in his condo.
Nice.
Then get an Uber car or walked back up to the strip. But I mean, kind of like you were talking about the pedometer, I had an Apple Watch on, and there was a couple days where I was over 20 miles.
Wow.
And that starts to get a little tiresome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. It's an adventure. Now,
how does that compare with the NRA show? Are they pretty similar?
Never been. Okay, so I've been to both now, but only once each. So NRA show is different. It's a little bit more relaxed, I guess, because SHOT Show, most people are there for business purpose. It's there to make deals and so forth. And the NRA show is more for just presenting things to the public in a sense. NRA show is a lot of fun. It's a little scaled down. You have a little bit less vendors, but it's still a huge show. So the time frame is different too. I think if I remember right, NRA show runs like 3 days or is it 4 days? I don't remember.
It's 3 days.
It is 3. Okay,
well, the one upcoming is 3 days. April 27th through the 30th, 2017.
And we're set up to go to that too. I mean, we're planning on it.
I'm definitely going to that.
Awesome. That'll be good.
Friends in Atlanta too, so that's always a bonus.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we didn't do yet. We got our hotel. We still got to set up our flights for it. I was waiting to get some more miles on my card or whatever, airline miles or whatever. But
I'm gonna drive. Honestly, the drive to Atlanta is not that bad.
No, it's not. It's just the time. That's what it is for me. It'll take longer probably to do the drive. So we opted not to do it. That way we can stay at the show longer. We can get like the 3 days in or whatever at the show, and then fly back home for work on Monday or whatever. So, yeah, but NRA is a lot of fun. That was a really good experience because after going to SHOT Show this year, I had a little bit better idea of how to do some of the things as far as the videoing and filming and all that kind of stuff. Still learning though. I mean, it's an ongoing process of kind of getting this stuff down and trying to make it better and so forth. This show I don't really put a lot into as I try to more so with my videos. This is more just kind of more of a fun thing to do every Tuesday night to kind of do some BS, talk about guns and so forth, and meet some different people in the industry and shooters and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a good event. Now, SHOT Show, yeah, it's all the walking and stuff. I had a story from that I shared before, which was my friend Ryan Wiggins, which he's been off here a little bit. He'll be back probably, I think, in another 2 months. He'll probably come back on with us. He's got a couple things he's sorting out right now. But we were out there and met up with him, and it was really ironic because, I think I tried to call him or something, and he was at one of the local bars that was there, and I was kind of headed out there because that's where a lot of people were going to be. And it just so happened I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit because I was kind of tired. So then I went out anyway, was just coming into the building, and he was coming out. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I was coming to meet up with you." He's like, "Perfect timing," basically type of thing, or whatever. I forgot what we actually said, but anyway, he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're going down to watch a tank drive over a car." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, "Where's that?" He's like, "Oh, it's all the way down somewhere over there." And I'm like, "All right." So we walked about 3.5 miles. So we did like 3.5 miles all the way down the strip, all the way down through Circus. I don't think we had to actually walk through it. For some reason we did to get over to Battlefield Las Vegas. I think they thought it was a shortcut. I don't really know. Me and him were kind of following his other two friends. and we get there, and it's like this party, and they have, sure enough, a tank driving over like a Saturn. I got a video of that, and they had like free beer and shots and stuff, and it was really cool. And then on the way back, we were like, me and Ryan were like, yeah, we don't really want to walk back, and like, should we just like share a cab or something? And we had a few, like the one guy's like, yeah, I got a limo. I'm like, what is the limo going to cost? He's like, oh, it's like I don't know, it was $75 or something, and then we're like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. And his other friend's like, well, we could all split it. And then we had like, I think 9 people. And so he's like, all right, $90, $10 a piece. So we took a limo back to our hotels. that was a blast. Good time. So yeah, SHOT Show had a lot of good memories, a lot of fun. And there's a lot of different little, side parties and things to go to as well. But it is what it is, something kind of cool. And, some people kind of, I think in the industry might get burned out on it a little bit if you do it every single year after so many years. But I just think it's pretty awesome. It's a good time. And
sounds like at SHOT Show, what you really need is a Segway. So you can scoot around on one of those.
Yeah, but you're just going to stop go traffic like that. Because it's just, there's so many people in the aisles and stuff.
I know. But I can imagine how bad it would be just even at a gun show here in Northwest Indiana. They get pretty packed on Saturday morning. So squeezing through people. Could you imagine doing it on a Segway? Hey, watch out. Have a little horn on it. Honk, honk.
Exactly. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what this year brings. I think it's going to be some cool stuff. I've got a list. You mentioned, Joe asked earlier about what's my kind of like my plan of attack on this. And I'm just starting to go through my list now. I've got, I don't know how many different companies. I got to go through and see who's going to be there, who's not. Then I have to see where they're located because I don't know how many vendors there are. I don't know the exact stat, but there's thousands, I imagine. And I got to kind of weed through that and kind of figure out how to make a roadmap and where to go. Now, the other part of that is, Joe, is that as you kind of make out these plans, you go to execute them and you go out to show up to this stuff and you go through them. There may be times, unless I set up an actual time with somebody, and even if you do, it might change. So you have to be kind of flexible and kind of work on the go. There was this past year, I was meeting somebody at the media room, and they told me last minute, like, oh, yeah, I won't be able to really spend much time with you, but if you can stop by, I'll meet you for like 5 minutes because my plans kind of changed. So you kind of make a rough guideline and then try to work from that to be as efficient as possible.
Did your cell phone work? Did you get coverage?
That's a great question. Inside the building, it was very spotty. The data was kind of not so great. So I couldn't do a lot of live streaming, if that's what you're asking about.
Well, I mean, just, even texting or anything, really. I mean, when I was in New Orleans 2 weeks ago, I was in the Superdome just at a Saints game, and my phone just was useless. I couldn't even text anybody. And I was like, it was just a sporting event. So
it was on and off. So that can make it challenging too. I think like text messages would come and go. I think like sometimes it would go through right away, sometimes it wouldn't. I don't really remember. But I do remember, I think, trying to do a live stream when I first went up, met Ryan in person. I was live streaming there. I'm like, hey, I'll live stream it. Because I never actually met him in person. So we met him at something called Tactical Ducks, I think it was. I don't know. He's like, I go, where are you at? He's like, we're trying to meet each other, and we're moving around in this place. And we had some communication. I remember that because we're moving around in the aisles going, and like we're like, hey, I'm at such booth number. I'm at such booth number. Okay, and we're trying to find out where to meet. And then he's like, I'm over by Tactical Ducks display. So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, all right. So I found him. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a good time walking around and hanging out with friends and stuff and getting coverage of the show and all that. And, yeah, it's still a whole new thing to me yet, and I'm still learning the tips and tricks and stuff from equipment to how to do interviews and how to do video editing and how to make it a little bit faster because the video editing aspect takes a lot of time. So I'm trying to figure out ways to streamline it. Like right now I'm looking at I need to make an intro for the SHOT Show videos. I need to make something short, sweet, under 10 seconds long because I learned from this something I learned, Joe, from last year, or still this year, as Dylan pointed out. From this past show, though. My intro, I think, was over 30 seconds long, and it had a lot of just for fun, I was trying to put like a montage together to kind of show some of the stuff from the surrounding area, like downtown Las Vegas, and some of the little clips from inside the show and stuff like that. And I kind of made a little montage with some of my friends in it and so forth. and it was kind of long. So people kind of commented and said, "Hey, that was like way too long," or someone said something like, "We don't need to know, or we don't need to see all the shots of downtown because we know we're in Vegas. We don't care about that." So I'm like, "Okay, good points. I got to take that stuff into consideration."
It is for sure. It's a good point. Yeah.
So I'm like, live and learn, and so
ADD and instant gratification went out.
yeah, exactly. That's what just happened to me too. My ADD kicked in just now because I saw this guy Flathmaster asked how hard is it to get a link. Link to what? That's what I'm wondering. If he's asking about a link to get into the show or what. But someone commented the dates were wrong. He said May 20th to 23rd, wrong show, April 27th to 30th. I don't know which. Do we have the dates wrong for the NRA homecoming?
No, that's what isn't that what I said? April 27th.
Not homecoming, annual meeting. Sorry, I said that wrong. I'm going to double check the dates right now. NRA meetings. It says join us April 27th to 30th, 2017. Yeah. So, yeah, he said the April. So maybe someone said May. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was this past year. But we'll be wrapping things up pretty soon here. I'm just kind of checking to see. Oh, he says into the show. If somebody wants to be a guest on the show or be like a panel member, just send me a message and ahead of time for next week's show we could probably get you in. Write them back and let them know. Yeah, send me a message on Facebook, BigGunner81 on Facebook, or that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. I don't know if you can probably message me through YouTube as well. So. Or unless he's talking about SHOT Show, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll deal with him in a little bit.
Fast to get theirs.
Yeah,
sucks.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go this year. In fact, because last year I went with On Target Radio, and they were on AM560 in their show. They ran out of funding, so now they're doing an internet-based show, which is something I suggested a while ago to them actually. I said, hey, you could save your money and do this instead and so forth. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So they're not going this year, needless to say. And so I actually got into my own credentials this year. So that's kind of feels like somewhat of an accomplishment, I guess, in some sense. I don't know. Yeah, sure I'm looking forward to it. But
so I have a gun question real quick before we wrap things up.
Ask it.
So I want to get a good 22 pistol that would be a good training gun for new shooters, whether it be friends or family, because that's if someone who's never shot before, that's obviously what I want them to shoot first, and I don't want to just rent a gun every time we go to the range. So I don't know if you guys have any that you own that you would recommend or suggestions.
That's a great question.
I really like the Smith & Wesson Victory a lot. I've rented it like 3 times, and I love that gun. So that's probably in the lead right now.
So I'll let Dylan answer this one first.
Well, to me, if I'm sending out a loaner gun, I'm going to drop a lot of money on it. If I want to spend a lot of money on it, I'm going to spend it on. The other thing is, what state you're in and what the laws are there, but balance quite a bit with new shooters. Reason being, especially with 22, there's often we can have a conversation. Hey, try this, hold this a little bit different. It's not going to bite you. And so, believe it or not, what I've got is probably one of the more inexpensive options. Smith & Wesson MP22 with a threaded barrel. Little AAC silencer on it, and hand them some mini mags and let them go to town and make those changes and stuff and help them with it. And I'm more of a Glock guy, but a lot of them end up buying an M&P afterwards.
Cool.
Rick, I'll let you
my answer?
Handle the silencer.
Oh, yeah. So silencers, yeah.
We're both Rick and I are in Illinois, by the way.
Yes, we are. We're fighting for that right now.
So we've been right here next door in America.
Yes, we know. I know. A friend of mine used to say a while back, he said, before we got our concealed carry, he said, yeah, I used to carried in my pistol in my car without the magazine in it. Then when I crossed over Indiana, I was able to put my magazine back in my pistol or something like that. He's like, so it's like going into a free country or some shit. So
you'll love this. When I go through Illinois, I bring a silenced pistol or rifle with me just because when I drive through the state, the safe transport law covers me.
That is true.
That is true. Right, exactly.
There's some, I think, it is going the other way, at least legislation-wise, in Illinois. It's really slow, obviously, but
if you could just get rid of Chicago, that'd be a great state.
Yep. Just get rid of California too.
In New York, while we're at it.
Yeah.
Although there are some good companies in both. I mean, we got Strike Industries out in California and in New York, All Star Tactical.
You just got to look at the location of them. It's the heavy packed urban areas that usually end up being the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
the rest of the state usually looks good. Just like Illinois, every time I drive out to Kentucky or somewhere else to shoot a match, I drive through Illinois, and it's a beautiful state and it's great. As long as I don't go to that northern part, I'll be okay.
Exactly. So back to your 22 question. I was going to say maybe that Smith & Wesson 22 myself.
The M&P?
Yeah. Yeah, the M&P. I have not actually shot one, but I've heard some good things about it. I have a 6-hour Mosquito. That thing's finicky. They are known to be finicky, but I didn't know that when I was buying it. So it was actually the very first pistol I actually bought. So, but I don't absolutely hate it. I like it. I like the fact that particular pistol scaled down. Like for me, I like SIGs. I like Glocks. I like a lot of things. But my main pistol has been my 6-hour 226, P226. And so the Mosquito is like a scaled down 90% version of that, so to speak. They share a lot of similarities in design, but not always in function. They're a little different internally, obviously. I think it's actually made by maybe GSG or some other company for SIG, and SIG puts their logo on it. But Dylan's got a suppressor right there.
Well, the Mosquito is more of like a 1911 setup, right? Is that right?
No, not really. No, the Mosquito looks just like a 226.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a scaled down 90% version of a P226. What you might be thinking of, the Ruger,
the
2245, the Ruger 2245. That what? I just totally forgot about that. That would probably be one of the ones at the top of my list. It's a nice setup. The grip angle on that is also matches the 1911. So I mean, I guess it also depends on what. If for someone just starting out, there's so many options. I think the Smith & Wesson is still pretty good for that.
Yeah, I think it would mostly still just be kind of a plinker. And then if there is a new shooter with me, it'd be a good gun to use. So
yeah, 2245.
I was actually going to say the Ruger. Also.
The 2245.
Yeah, I don't know. It's real comfortable for me to shoot. A couple friends of mine have one. And they just it's a real nice gun to shoot. My wife shoots their guns all the time because they got optics and all this other stuff, on top of the gun. So pretty much open rimfire optic is what they shoot with it. So
yeah, I'll check that out. So, I haven't really looked at that. The 2245.
One of those up. Is it relatively easy to clean or more of a pain? That for especially for new shooters, because this is one of the guns I used to use when I taught conceal and carry classes.
We lost your video feed.
Oh, you lost it?
Yeah, I don't know why we lost your. They're okay. Now you're back.
I can see you still. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, the reason why I liked using this for conceal and carry classes is every person that's going to walk up, and I had 5 of these at the time and 5 revolvers with it. Hard to clean. This isn't something where I'm going to spend 2 hours tearing it down, cleaning it, detailing it together. I'm going to pull that little bad guy right there, slide the slide off, clean it up, and be done.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if you're doing it, if I'm buying one and I'm going to go shoot, I'm probably picking up one of those Rugers. If I'm going to be loaning it out and it's going to be a high round count, non-competition gun, something that a little easier to clean, so I'm not going to cry if somebody puts 100 rounds through it. It's kind of like if I'm going to take a new shooter out and I'm going to hand him a pistol to shoot, to have fun and learn how to shoot with, I'm going to hand him one of my Glocks. And then I'm going to pull the slide off of it. I'm going to clean it up and be done. I'm not going to take him out and hand him a custom 2011 and go, okay, well, there's my special tool for the guide rod. I'm going to tear the slide off. I got to do this. A little bit different was what I'm going to use for me to shoot versus what I'm going to hand somebody to let them go plinking with.
Awesome points. I like it.
Just got to get them all. Just got to get them all at some point.
Well, have all of the above.
Yep.
Pretty much. That's kind of how I feel with the AR-15s right now, with all the different options. Except, it's like doing this project. I have some awesome components from different rifles that I'd be like, yeah, you know what? If I was going to build my alternate 3-gun rifle again, like remodify mine, I'd want to use this and that and this thing and put it all together in one super rifle. But I can't because they're all for each individual state for the project. But it gives me ideas for things I want to change in my 3-gun rifle. Now I'm going to keep my F1 rifle as it is assembled right now. I'm probably going to make some small changes to it possibly this year. One of the things I kind of like, and you guys, this might open a whole debate though if I mention this, but the push button safety that they offer from Elfman Tactical, I kind of like that thing. It's pretty fast.
It's one of them. Yeah, it is pretty fast. I think it's one of those things that if you're shooting 3-gun, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a problem because that's the same style you're going to shoot in your shotgun.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't see an issue with it as long as you're used to it. When I played with it, I'm used to hitting with my trigger finger to play with.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of training, it's not anything you couldn't overcome pretty quick.
Right.
Would be dumping the rifle. Clicked off the safety on my shotgun. I got guns laying all over the place here. You see it from there. But last match of the year, I ended up losing first place on it because when I toss it in the barrel, this sticks out just a bit. And one little click, and
hey, is that Cerakote or is that
red line?
Is that a Cerakote or anodized? Awesome.
One of the RCI BE shotguns. I had him make this one special for me in the orange. Got my little name on it, but
that's cool.
I ended up clicking it off, and that's the only thing I worry about is I've got a little bit of the receiver covering the safety here, but if the side of a rifle, if I grab this one here, really not much hitting something and bumping it off.
That's nice.
I've lost a match from
which
I really don't need to.
Which upper and lower receiver is that?
This is actually a Rise factory rifle, and
awesome.
That's illegal in your state. So it's one of their factory rifles. This is, if you were buying the receiver set, it'd be a Strike upper and lower, or Striker. This is what I ran pretty much all year. This is the one I'm going to be using to kill coyotes next year. I'll show you the here. A little bit different handguard, but there you go.
Cool.
So
nice.
A little bit bigger magwell.
Mm-hmm.
Engraving on the lower.
Nice.
So, but like I said, both of them, even with the bigger magwell and everything on this, if I'm going to hit the safety left to right, there's nothing like getting DQ'd from a match or maybe losing the top spot because.
What trigger is on that? What trigger was on that one?
Both of these are going to have the Rise RA 535 trigger. So see a little closer.
Yep. Very cool.
So that's the same one that's in the PCC, which I'm waiting for the tax stamp to come back because I don't have a 16-inch 22 upper with an SBR upper once the tax stamp comes in for the lower. But so far, it works with 223, 308, and it's working with 9mm. So if it works with 22, it should work with just about anything then. So
awesome.
Which that's been my hardest one is getting one to work with 22. My SBR lower currently does not. So I have a ornamental 22 upper.
Oh wow. So go ahead and wrap things up tonight because we're a little bit after 10 o'clock here, about 10:15. So thank you everybody for jumping in and hanging out tonight, and for everybody out there watching as well. One of our viewers wants to actually be on the show next week, so I told him go ahead and send me a message through Facebook or even get a hold of me on gunchannels.com or whatever. We can get you in here to chat with us. Again, thank you, Dylan, for being on with us today, and
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got some awesome gear there and stuff, and we'll have you back again in the future. And Joe,
definitely.
And Joe, again, thank you for hanging out with us. You always got some good ideas and questions. So
you got it. Thank you.
And Tommy, also thank you for being with us tonight.
Hey, no problem.
And
thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Enjoyed the story about kicking the mag through the wall.
My wife still will kill me if she even hears me talking about it. She's still mad about that.
Wow. Nice. All right, everybody. So until next time, as always, go out and have some fun shooting.